Hey, how's everybody doing there? Brother Phil here. Just wanted to come on and share a word with you guys. So for quite a while, I've been hearing that the calendars are wrong. Israel calendars are wrong, or whatever calendars are wrong. And I just want to first of all say that Jesus died on the cross on Passover, was put in the grave on unleavened bread. Uh, Rose from the dead on first fruit, and the church was formed on Pentecost. Now these feasts were fulfilled exactly to the day, and we're all looking at Feast of Trumpets right now. I'm not saying it's this year. I'm not trying to predict the time, but I am saying this is that if the first four feasts were fulfilled exactly to the day, then I'm pretty sure the next three feasts will be fulfilled to the day also. So um, the feast are God's feast, Jesus' feast. Jesus says, "These are my feasts," says the Lord. And God is has the preeminence. God is all knowing. God is all powerful. Um, so God has to say so, or when these feasts are going to be fulfilled. And so we have Feast of Trumpets coming up in a couple of days. I'm not saying that that's the day of the rapture, but it's a possibility. It's a great possibility, especially the things that are going on right now in the world. Um, we have so many things going on, and I have sort of changed my perspective of how things are going to turn out um, before and after the rapture. And I am now convinced that after the rapture, there should be a great falling away first before the Antichrist comes. I also believe that the Shemitah cycle starts next year. So the rapture can happen this year, and you can have a whole 12-month delay before the tribulation period begins, because there's a lot of things that have to happen, after the rapture. It doesn't have to be a lot of things that happen before the rapture, but because it just most of the stuff already happened. But after the rapture, there's going to be a lot of things that take place. Um, for instance, the Ezekiel 38, 39 war, Isaiah 17, um, Psalms 83 war. And again, this stuff can happen really quickly. I mean, it can happen within 2 or 3 weeks, and you know, and we could be sitting at the table and doing a peace talks a little bit later this month. I mean, you don't know. But what I'm saying, my new perspective is that after the rapture, there is a 1 year delay, and it's based off of the Shemitah cycles. And if you don't know what the Shemitah cycles is, in Daniel chapter 9, it talks about 70 weeks of Daniel. Each week is worth 7 years, so 70 times 7 is 490 years. Of course, the Messiah was cut off at 69 weeks, so there's one more week left. And God works, God is very calculable. God does things exactly to the T. He's God. And a lot of people out there, they make God look like he doesn't know what he's doing, or I'm just going to come any day. I mean, if you really get into the word, you'll notice that God doesn't come. He doesn't do anything just on any day. And one of the reasons why he's not doing it on just any day is because he can show the Israelites or Israel that, hey, I took the church out on a specific time. And it says the fullness of the Gentiles come in. And to the fullness of the Gentiles come in, the blindness will be removed from the Israelites. So they're no longer be blind once the rapture happens, because they'll realize that, hey, this is the Feast of Trumpets. God took his church out on the Feast of Trumpets, or took his bride out, rather. Another thing I want to talk about real quick, and this has very much to do with this video, is is that the bride is a small number. If you read Philadelphia, the Church of Philadelphia, Revelation chapter 3, he says they have, they're a small remnant, small strength, small number. Now, small strength could also mean that they're weak and they're tired and they've been patient, but they're tired and they're waiting for the Messiah to come. Or it can mean that they're small in number. After the last 2 years, I've read the word, and I noticed that that we as we look at the time that we're in now, we notice that more people are falling away, more people are starting to change their view on the gospel, the first tenets of Christianity, and you see things happening where people are departing from the faith. Well, I read, and I don't have my Bible here; it's in my other room. But I read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It says now, that we're, the part where they talk about the gathering to him, and be not soon shaken in mind. And it says that there be a great falling away first. And the great falling away first is because the rapture happened and people missed the rapture. They missed the rapture because they were not ready. And after they missed the rapture, they were shocked, hurt, devastated, and they fell away. So it would, the Shemitah year, this is the Shemitah year starting on Wednesday. So the Shemitah year lasts from Feast of Trumpets to Feast of Trumpets. So it lasts from Feast of Trumpets 2021 to Feast of Trumpets 2022. And this can be the transition period. Have you heard the Great Reset? If you read carefully, there is no revival until after the rapture. So two things are happening after the rapture. There's a great falling away. And I'm not listening to these people who say, well, the great falling away is the rapture. Come on. I mean, no, it's not. The great falling away is the great falling away. And the reason why it's falling away, it's a great falling away, is because of after the rapture, people walk away from God. And if you think about it for a minute, yeah, can you see that? People walk away from God because they thought they were walking with God, but they wouldn't. And the 5 virgins who didn't have, they had half full oil lamps, and they get ticked off at God and they walk away. So that comes first, and then the man of sin be revealed. Now, some things might happen where because I was saying this before. I said, like, it doesn't seem like the structure for the beast system is here. It's here, but it's not here. And then I was thinking the wars, Ezekiel 38 and 39, could all that stuff happen in 3 or 4 weeks? Yeah. I think it can happen in 3 or 4 weeks. I can see the beast system rising. I could see Russia invading Israel. I could see I can see this. I can see all those wars happening within a couple of days. I can see it all happening really quickly. So those are my two thoughts. It happens really quickly, or it goes another year because of the Shemitah cycle. But the rapture happens this year, and the beast system rises, which I believe it is a Roman Empire based off the Roman Empire. I don't think it's just Europe. I think it's Europe, Northern Africa, and the Middle East. And Nikolai Sarkozy, you can go look it up. It's called the Mediterranean Union. Nikolai Sarkozy started that in 2008. And the funny thing is, it still makes up the Middle East, which a lot of people will say, well, the Antichrist is coming from Europe. After further study, I believe he's coming from the Middle East. The Bible calls him the Assyrian 4 times. It only calls him the Antichrist once. So if he's the Assyrian, then that means he's coming from either Turkey, well, Syria, Turkey, Lebanon, or somewhere in that area. Now he can work out of, there's a good chance he can work out of Europe. You know, he can have a capital, an office in Brussels, and an office in Turkey, and, you know, because I believe Turkey will be the Bolshevik, it will restart the Bolshevik Empire. Remember in 1917, Israel, the Jews received the land of Israel from the Bolshevik Empire. So now they're going to recapture it or receive it from the Bolshevik Empire again. So that's something to look at. Okay. But getting back to the Feast of Trumpets, like I said before, this is a strong watch time. There's a strong possibility that the rapture can happen. A lot of us are probably looking for World War 55 to break out, but what if it doesn't? What if it just happens? So my best guess is it's either this year or next year for the rapture. I'm leaning more towards this year than next year. The reason why is because of the Shemitah cycle. Once again, I think the Shemitah cycle will start the tribulation period, which is next year. And I think the rapture will happen before that. And like you say, there's going to be a transition period where the Antichrist or the New World Order starts to set up its organization. And all of this cashless society stuff will kick in because you still haven't got any market. You know, the markets are going to probably collapse before the Antichrist comes because it's going to he needs a platform. So it'll take about a year just to build him a platform. And what I mean by platform is, you know, order out of chaos. We need a savior, send us one. So I'm thinking Psalms 83, if it's a war, which I believe it is, Isaiah 17, Ezekiel 38 and 39, but I'm thinking it's split. And let me explain what I mean. I believe that Isaiah 7, I'm thinking Psalms 83 will happen first, then Isaiah 17, and then there'll be a peace agreement, but it won't be by the Antichrist. There'll be a peace agreement, and then they'll holler peace and safety for a couple of months. The word sudden doesn't have to be sudden. You know, people say, well, sudden destruction, so it has to be really quickly. The word sudden doesn't have to be like, well, we're thinking sudden, you know, like suddenly. It can be after 6,000 years of history, what is sudden? What is sudden? Sudden can be a year. Sudden can be 3 years. John F. Kennedy was, young president, took office, and suddenly he was killed. But it wasn't sudden. It was 2 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving y'all an example of sudden. Because sudden doesn't have to be like George Bush became president and then suddenly the Twin Towers got hit. Was it really suddenly? It wasn't suddenly. It was it took just a little bit of time. So sudden destruction can come after they holler peace and safety. Could be that. So in other words, there's going to be a time where there's Psalms 83 war, and then in Isaiah 17 war, and then there's a pause, a peace agreement, and then Ezekiel 38 and 39 happens. And then after that war, the Antichrist shows up to bring peace to the earth. Their version of real peace. Well, anyway, God bless you guys. I just thought I'd come on here. This is high watch time. Stay encouraged. Jesus is coming soon, and his reward is with him. Yeah. God bless you. Bye.